the word shamanism originates from the Tungus tribe in Siberia. And the term was first used in the West in a book published by a Dutch explorer. And it was published. And I absolutely love these things. When Neptune was in Pisces in the 17th century. The term is used to define practices that are common to many ancient traditions. And so the term shamanism applies to them all. It's a generalization. I recently, well, last year, I was in Lapland, the northernmost part of Europe, frozen Norway up there, in a ritual with the Sami shaman. And the Sami shaman was playing his drum, and the similarity in terms of the rhythm to the songs, the Icaros of the Peruvian was striking. So I really understood that generalization. They all have something in common, okay? So it is a way of connecting with nature and all creation. It is a healing tradition. In some cases, it's a way of life. So for now, if it's universal spiritual wisdom inherent to a number of indigenous cultures, we now here can use it as a method by which we can strengthen our connection to the natural world. Because, as you know, in most Western societies, we have lost that connection, right? And that is one of the things that I feel it's important, that we rebuild that connection. One of the traits of all shamanism and of all shamans is that they recognize that everything is imbued with spirit and everything is connected. So they have the ability to communicate with nature, with trees, with crystals, with stones. And they have the ability to access other dimensions, including the spiritual dimension, and act as guides. They generally access those planes of existence through fasting, isolation, meditation, resonance with instruments, and herbal medicines. And most of these practices can induce an altered state of consciousness. In the Native American tradition, this is called a vision quest. And it means that you set aside a time and a place, and you go out alone in nature to communicate with the higher beings or the higher self or the spirit within. And somewhere in that space-time period, an answer comes. And if it doesn't, you have to do it again. Okay, so back to our shamanism definition. In recent decades, the term shamanism has been popularized throughout the Western world, especially in esoteric New Age circles. And the term has been even more generalized. Well, can Neptune So the next question is, can Neptune in Pisces be synchronic with the search for a shamanic connection? Can we attribute spirituality to Neptune? Um, I'm, as I told you often, I'm a triple Gemini, so I love trivia. So you have to bear with me a little bit. When the Hubble telescope photographed Neptune up close, although they knew it was all gases and ice, it was blue. It was blue. It's a blue planet, like the oceans over which Neptune rules. And Neptune, god of the sea, and the connection with the immensity of the oceans is indispensable in our understanding of the astrological Neptune. I guess if you're here and you are a member of ISAR, I guess you know something about Neptune and about the energy of Neptune. So I'm not going to go over it, just to remind you that Neptune is the erosion of borders, of boundaries, is the planet that is least concerned with the ego. It's the planet that allows us to lose oneself and merge with the one. It's the planet of transcendence, the planet of escape, the planet of compassion. Okay. And then we also know, as prominent students of astrology, that when a planet is in the sign of rulership, its energy has a greater potential to be felt uh, and to be actualized. And in the case of a slow moving planet, it's felt worldwide because it stays so many years in that sign. And Pisces adds to that Neptunian energy the fact that it's also the sign that is least concerned. It has probably the weakest sense of self, and it's also concerned with wholeness, with universality, and it's very important for our spiritual development. So it makes sense to link shamanic practices and Neptune in Pisces. But I think there's a little more to be said, and that is a little bit above me. So I called in the experts. I don't know if you know Liz Green's Neptune book. Oh, yep, yep, okay. And this is an expert. So that's what I did. I called in the experts. Oops. Here we go. Oops. No. There you go. Okay. What does Lindgren say? That no planet has the exclusive rights to spirituality. Um, because each planet has its own connection with the divine. But definitely, ecstatic experiences of being taken out of oneself, like a vision quest, are the domain of Neptune. And I add, especially when it journeys through Pisces.